Hey guys, this is AI Gaming 1776 and I'm doing a 4K performance demonstration using two GTX 1070s playing the game Assassin's Creed Syndicate. We are using a 6700K for the processor, that's an i7, and everything is overclocked. As you can see, we're at 3840 by 2160 and we're at 60 Hertz. Obviously VSync is off because it's 4K 60 Hertz. I mean, going higher than that at this point in time, November 2016, not something most hardware can do. Alright, so environment quality very high, texture quality high, shadow quality high, ambient occlusion SSAO, anti-aliasing is MSAA times 2. Alright, now again, this is a 4K recording. I actually did a longer and very in-depth video showing you guys how this hardware can play the game, and I discussed it and I demonstrated it and so on and so forth. The problem is that video is in 1080p. Alright, so I'm doing this really quickly to show you the game actually in 4K. And wow, we are getting some wicked screen tearing. We're recording, so the frame rate, it's not super affected right now. To be honest, you can expect the low 60s to the mid 70s most of the time when not recording. But it is affecting it a little bit. It's when it clicks down into the 50s and when it stays at the low 60s, normally you could expect it to be a little bit better. But anyway, I would say low 60s to mid 70s more or less. Let me turn on VSync, and if the frame rate stays good with VSync on, I'm just going to leave on VSync, alright, because the screen tearing is driving me mad. Alright, now look how crisp that is. Look how nice that is. Very beautiful, and then as you can see, the game is very fluid. It controls very nicely. The details are excellent. The textures, you probably won't be able to tell how good the textures are. Now I'm recording at not quite full quality, as in like as high as I can get the slider to go, but pretty close to it at 4K. And shadow play, I'm trying to get over to Big Ben, but I don't know if y'all are going to want to watch me run that long. I was hoping I'd be closer to it. I think we can go this way and maybe go building to building. Not sure. Anyway, pretty good with GTX 1070s and SLI. I'm pretty impressed. Better than a single GTX 1080, I can tell you that. The SLI scaling I showed you guys in the other video was about... I forget where it was at its low point in the other video. You'd have to go and watch that. But it was as high as 99%. So the cards scale fairly well in this game. Now, I normally am not a multi-GPU fan. Okay, I'm normally not. But if you want a game at 4K 60 FPS and then have settings turned up, remember we have the detail level at, well, the environment quality, but I think that's what they call the detail level in this game. I think they call it environment quality. We have that at very high, and honestly, it's pretty nice. There is a lot going on the screen, like especially if you stand here. I'm looking at a 4K television at the moment, and I can see a ton of detail on the screen right now. There's a lot of NPCs. There's the boats. There's the birds. There's the horses and such on the bridge. And then there's the buildings across the waterway there. It's all very, very, very nice. Now again, I did a much longer video than this. Unfortunately, it recorded at 1080p. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to that. And if you want to hear my long, drawn-out thoughts and see examples of the game performing in a, not necessarily a bigger area of the city, but obviously it's about, I don't know, a 20-30 minute video, so I run around a lot more in it, jump around in it a lot more, getting more fights. But this is just to supplement that, right? Maybe I'll re-record that video at some point in 4K, but this is just to show you a little taste of how good it can look in 4K. Look at that detail. Look at the signage. Look at the reflection on the windows, and then the font. See, I'm a sucker. One thing that makes me enjoy 4K is I am a sucker for reading signs and buildings and windows and stuff in game while I play. Dishonored 2, when you play that in 4K, you can be running around and out of the corner of your eye, you can notice that you can see writing on different things, and you can read it very crisply, very nicely. And you can kind of do the same thing here. It's not as crisp and nice as Dishonored 2, but this is good. This is good. So it's these little details that jump out at you when you're playing on something like a big 4K TV that make it worth it to me to give it. Because, you know, if you use a computer monitor, whether it's G-Sync or it's something with 1 millisecond of response time, normally that would be a TN panel. The G-Sync 1440p monitors tend to be, well, the IPS ones anyway, have more like 4 milliseconds of input lag, or response time anyway, gray to gray. So the point I'm getting at is when you go to a TV, there is a trade-off. You get less responsiveness, but there's so much detail that you see when you have a bigger screen. And then I don't know what it is about this particular 4K TV that I'm using. It's a Samsung. But man, I am really impressed with it. It's not an expensive television by any means whatsoever. And it's not a poorly rated one. It's actually very highly rated. But I assume a lot of people give it the high ratings for its price. I guess what I was going to say is it's not renowned, right? It's not famous for being this super badass television. But man, everything looks so good. I'm walking past this carriage. I'm reading the writing on it. I'm watching the shadows being cast on it while I walk beside it. And then I'm paying attention to the reflections. And it's just very, very immersive, especially on this television compared to what I would see on a computer monitor. Now, the thing I like about playing this on a nice 1440p monitor is with a nice 1440p monitor, you know, that is what they call the sweet spot these days, where it's still really good looking. 1440p is nothing to sneeze at. It's very good looking. You still have your responsiveness and such. You have your higher frame rate, higher than 60 FPS. But I prefer this, to be honest with you, with a lot of games. The only time I prefer the 1440p gaming monitor these days is when I'm going to play a shooter. So, and I talk about that in the other video where I talk about Overwatch, but it's almost all shooters. Now, Titanfall 2, believe it or not, come on, I'm trying to, no, that is not what I was trying to do. That is not at all what I was trying to do. How do I get off? There we go. There we go. I was trying to get into a fight over here is what I was trying to do. Anyway, Titanfall 2, I've not done PC multiplayer yet. I've not done the PC multiplayer yet, but I have done the campaign. What was that glitch even? Did you see that? They just disappeared. I don't know if I triggered like a side mission or what. Everything about this has been shenanigans ever since I tried to start this fight. Alright, so anyway, the campaign in Titanfall 2, I feel like even on this 4K television, controls awesomely. Like, no complaints whatsoever, like a dream, right? The campaign for Titanfall 2, I don't blame the controls, I don't blame the television, I'm even using a controller. And I think it controls fantastically. But most shooters, like even if it's Black Ops 3, even if it's Overwatch, most first-person shooters on a TV, in my opinion, that's where I still want to use the gaming monitor, alright? I still definitely would prefer the gaming monitor. It just is going to give you a much better advantage when it comes to shooters. It's going to perform better. But if I'm playing an adventure game like this, oh, absolutely. 4K TV all day. Alright, all day. Let me drive this carriage real quick and then we'll end this video. What a failure. I can't seem to figure this out. Alright. Come on. There you go. Now, the lighting in this game is really weird. I'm pretty sure this looks kind of washed out to you right now. When I was facing that way in the street. So, you gotta... with almost all the Assassin's Creed games, to be honest with you, I seem to run into this issue where you click it on one brightness setting and it's a little too bright. You click it on the setting right below it and that's a little too dark. And there is no just right brightness setting. They need to give you more notches, right? Like, let's say they give you 10 notches, well, they need to give you 20. or 15 or 16 or something. You need more brightness notches in these games, in my opinion. So if I went down to brightness, it wouldn't look as good. Alright, so I'm trying to think what I might do while I'm showing you this in 4K. I guess what I did this in the other video, but it's going to make more sense if I do it in this video because I'm recording in 4K, is turning off the anti-aliasing and showing you that. Okay, because all of the anti-aliasing makes you use FXAA. Look how great this looks. Look how much detail. There's these different kinds of bricks. There's different kinds of windows. There's different, just so much tessellation too. It's like a tessellation fest over here. And then see the up there, see the flower boxes? You can see just awesome detail when you walk by, things like that. Alright, so I'm about to get in a fight with these dudes. Let me turn off the AA. You always have to have FXAA, which is not ideal. See, it'll always be there. Every AA option includes FXAA, which is ridiculous. So let's turn it off. There's a lot of shimmering and a lot of jaggies. And yes, it is in 4K, but there's still shimmering. Now look how much darker that building is where the plants are, where those potted plants are. That actually does change it a little bit. The whole complaint with the brightness, well, that is bright there and washed out. But it's more faded out and washed out when you use FXAA. Now, for a while when I played this game, believe it or not, I used no AA whatsoever because I just could not stand the FXAA. The game is so much sharper and there's so much more contrast. Look at that. There's so much more contrast when you turn AA off. Here, let's turn it back on. Maybe the sun moved and I'm giving the lack of AA too much credit. Well, the lack of FXAA. The sun does move in this game. The daytime does change. So let's go back to what we had. MSAA times 2 plus FXAA. Yeah, it's a little more faded in my opinion. The stonework there. I'll try to switch it off really fast and not talk so much. But that stonework looks darker to me when AA is off. Alright, so I'm trying. It looks darker to me. There's just ever so much the difference. Now, as I stand here and look at this building, though, there's so much shimmer in the building with no AA. Like, all those lines that you see there, all the tessellation that I like, it's like a heat wave. It shimmers, and I can see that really well on the TV in front of me. I don't know if it will translate really well in the video. Anyway, I didn't want this to be a long video, so I'm not going to let it be a long video. I'm going to go ahead and end it. If you want to see more detailed analysis of the game and how it performs fine with two GTX 1070s. I'll put it like that. But if you want to see it, I will include the link. Just so you know, what I'm trying to do is I've got a PS4 Pro. I have 4 GTX 1070s, actually. This is just 2 of them. And then I have a GTX 1080. It's a pretty good 1080. I have 2 good 1070s, 1 crappy 1070, and 1 mediocre 1070. That's almost crappy. But I have one really good 1080. And then I've got the PS4 Pro. And those are really your 3 main configurations that give you a likelihood to play in 4K 60 FPS right now. And it's fake 4K on the PS4. I already know that. Okay, I'm not stupid. It's fake 4K. Here, let me turn VSync off. Okay, because we have MSAA off. So let's see how high the frame rate gets up to. What am I doing? That's AA. Oh, that. Make sure I didn't do... Yeah, AA is still off. Alright. Look at that. 78 frames per second. 79. 80 frames per second. That's with MSAA off. Keep in mind, we had MSAA on in 4K. That is how good the two 1070s are. Look at that. 80 frames per second with the MSAA off. Let's turn FXAA. I just went down to 75. Let's turn FXAA on. Come on, buddy. By the way, just for clarity's sake, just because it's getting 80 frames per second while I walk down that street does not mean it would get 80 frames per second throughout the whole game. So FXAA, like, almost no hit at all. It was at 80 frames, yeah, 80 frames per second again. So FXAA, very little hit whatsoever to the performance. In my opinion, though, nothing's perfect. If you have no anti-aliasing whatsoever, then you're going to have shimmering. And if that doesn't bother you, then I guess don't run it, and then you'll save yourself a lot of performance. If the shimmering does bother you, then run FXAA. But I'm telling you, if you feel froggy, then throw on that MSAA because it looks good. All right, so I know I was saying something. Oh, PS4 Pro, 2 GTX 1070s, and a GTX 1080. So my goal is to make a bunch of videos for you guys showing you how viable 4K gaming is, because it's viable right now. All right, 4K gaming is absolutely viable right now. I made a video saying I was disappointed with 4K, and it got quite a few views, and I still am disappointed to an extent. Okay, because you have like SLI is not convenient. SLI is very inconvenient. You're running a multi-GPU setup. Not every game supports it, okay? And I'm going to be showing you that in videos. I did a Titanfall video tonight. There's no SLI in that game. Now, you can make an SLI profile for the game in NVIDIA Inspector, but out of the box, there's no SLI for that game. The game does not come, when you buy it, with SLI support. So I made a video showing how the game plays with two GTX 1070s in Titanfall 2, and obviously one of the 1070s was being used at like 3%. So clearly not being used to its potential. But anyway, point being, 4K is viable, and I want to show you how viable it is. It's very beautiful if you have the right screen, whether it's the right monitor or the right television. It is very attractive. It is very beautiful. It is very enjoyable. The thing is do you want to spend a little bit of money? You can get a PS4 Pro. It won't be real 4K, but get this. The PS4 Pro looks really super good in a lot of games. All right? I'm saying that as somebody who is beasting in this game with two 1070s. I'm saying that as somebody who has a single 1080 that does pretty well in a lot of titles. Okay? I've seen true 4K gaming. With that said, PS4 Pro looks pretty good for a $400 console. And, you know, like, you're not going to have to deal with drivers. You're not going to have to deal with... Okay, listen. The PS4 Pro does have two GPUs in it, sort of, kind of. I've read multiple things on that, right? It's widely believed to basically be Crossfire. Okay? So that is multi-GPU, but it's not your headache to deal with. It's a console. It sorts it out, right? Like, you don't have to deal with that. So, long story short, PS4 Pro, it looks good for what it is. For how much it costs and what it is, it looks good. Almost anything that you play that is fake 4K on it, or even some of the games that are real 4K. By the way, PS4 Pro, man, I'm making this video too long. I just want to give you this warning. Some of the games say they are effective 4K resolution, and they even tell you in the menu that they're 4K, but if they are effective 4K, then they're not real 4K. That word effective is there as a qualifier, all right? Effective 4K means, here, let me turn MSA back on. Effective 4K means it's checkerboard 4K, and it's not real 4K. Anyway, it's 30 FPS when you are playing on the PS4 Pro for the most part. Titanfall 2 is 60 FPS, or at least look how just beautiful that is. Dang. Oh, that is nice. That is so nice. It's just brown, right? But trust me, like the detail as I look at the TV screen right now, and if I move her, all right, so much detail in her outfit, so much detail in the brickwork, the reflections, just everything is spot on. So much enjoyment. You can even see like little freckles on this woman's face right now. I'm a huge fan of this. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Point is, I've been testing the crap out of 4K for you guys, and I'm ready to start sharing my results. All right, so 4K is viable. It's expensive, and or it's complicated, and or it's messy, right? You can get yourself a console and not spend a whole lot of money. PS4 Pro, which by the way does not even play UHD movies, the 4K Blu-rays, which is lame. For what it's worth, regular Blu-rays do look good on it. Even on a 4K TV, it upscales well. But I have an Xbox One S to compare it to. And when I'm watching the movies in real 4K, oh, so much better. So much better on the same TV. A/B testing. Anyway, so you can do the console. All right, it's fake 4K. It's 30 FPS. There's no keyboard and mouse to speak of. I mean, maybe there is a way to get keyboard and mouse to work on it, but, you know, again, not out of the box, something that just works to my knowledge. So there's a lot of downfalls to it, but that's a viable option, all right? And then you can do two 970s, two 980 Ti's you would think you could do, but they don't scale as well. Something about Maxwell scales better, especially when playing at higher resolution. Why? I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. Or maybe the RAM's just a little bit faster on the Maxwell cards, and that's what's doing it. I don't know. Maybe you guys know, but I'm telling you, I have two 980 Ti's, two really great ones. I have an EVGA Classified and an EVGA Hybrid, all right? And I paid good money for those. And so I'm not a 980 Ti hater by any means. I love the 980 Ti. But I don't have as good of performance when I use a 980 Ti in SLI. I just don't, as what I get with two 1070s. So that's why I say two 1070s, one 1080, or you can do one Titan XP, or when the 1080 Ti comes out, you can do one 1080 Ti. What I plan to do is two 1080 Ti's, and then I'll be covered for those games where they don't, where you don't get to use both cards, right? Titanfall 2 can't use both cards. Skyrim Special Edition doesn't use both cards. All of those Windows games, the UWP Windows games like Gears of War and Forza, they don't use both cards. Metal Gear Solid 5, Just Cause 3. These are the main standouts that I can think of that don't use both cards. Now, with that said, almost everything else in my repertoire does use both cards. I say almost everything. I mean, again, don't hold me to it. There's a million bajillion games out there. SLI has problems, right? Believe that. But so what are you going to do? You can get one 1080 and you can play most of your games at 4K. Most of them, but definitely not all. A bunch of them will suck. This 1070 combo here can play The Witcher 3 4K 60 FPS, and it is the bomb. My single 980 cannot do that. The Division, two 1070s can do that. My single 1080 cannot do that. Now, how well does a single Titan XP or a single 1080 Ti, like how well will that do? I don't know yet, to be honest with you. I don't know. But I do know what two 1070s can do, and that's what I'm telling you in this video. So, I'm going to leave it at this. I'm sorry the video even went this long. We didn't even get to as much analysis as I put into the other video. Watch it if you want to. Don't if you don't. It's up to you guys. So, thanks for watching. I put a lot of effort into these videos. Please tell your friends. Please share. Please like. Please subscribe. I was hoping my crosshairs would turn red on that NPC, but they don't. When you play in 4K with the detail turned up, it is sick. Like how much detail there is in the distance. Like, seriously. I'm looking on this big screen, and yeah, those background buildings there are lower resolution because they're in the distance. I mean, look, they're in the distance. But you can see all the windows, and you can tell what kind of brickwork they have. Like, this is not a joke. This is not a joke, son. This is so wonderful. But I am using two GTX 1070s and SLI, and that ain't cheap, and it's not necessarily convenient, and not every game works with SLI. But that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. I'm trying to walk you through this 4K deal, tell you what you can really expect. Oh, by the way, I have decent overclocks on all of this hardware. Keep that in mind. If you have two 1070s and they're not overclocking, by the way, look at my temperatures. That top GPU is water cooled, all right? That bottom GPU is air cooled, but it's an EVGA for the win, and those actually have a little bit decent sized, a little bit bigger is what I was going to say. They have decent sized fans on them. All right. Plus, I was smart enough to at least put for the win card, the air cooled card. I put that on the bottom. Anyway, if you don't keep your 1070s cool, you're not going to see the performance that I'm getting. All right. You got to keep your 1070s cool. What else? I'm using a 6700K overclock to 4.7 gigahertz. All right. So if you've got like an i5 and two poorly overclocking 1070s with bad coolers on them, and they're not keeping the temps down and they're not maintaining their overclock, because that's why the temperature matters, is Pascal really needs to stay cool to maintain its overclock. So if you are not packing a decent CPU and your GPUs don't have a good overclock, then you won't see performance as good as this. With that said, in this game, you saw the headroom we have, right? When you turn off MSAA, the frame rate is much decently higher, and you still have, textures are maxed, right? High textures, that's as high as it goes, and then very high is almost maxed for the detail level, the environment quality. Ambient occlusion is on. It's not like it's off. Is it HBAO? No, but it's still on. You have ambient occlusion and it looks good. Actually, FXAA is what I wanted. So these are good settings. These are not garbage settings, and we're at 72 frames per second. So even if you didn't have as good of an overclock,
there you are.
Feasibly, if you give up MSAA or if you turn the detail level down, you should still get 4K 60 FPS. What I'll do is I'll actually underclock these graphics cards in the future. Not tonight, but when I get a chance, I'll underclock them and I'll try the game again. But anyway, look, man, my videos run long because I give you all this information. Most people, look, I've never seen videos that will tell you this much. Like, hey, these are the considerations that you need to get this performance. So in my videos, part of why they go so long is I am showing you the performance in real time, and then on top of that, I'm telling you how you can expect it, right? You got an i5 and your 1070 zone overclock, well, then you probably won't get what I'm getting in this video. A lot of videos don't do that. A lot of videos, you know what they do? They're a couple minutes long, and maybe they don't even have commentary, and you don't really know like all the things the guy did to get that performance, and you don't know if you'll get it. And I try to set you guys up for success, and that takes a while. It's hard to do that in a 2-minute video. So anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully this video has helped you out. Check me out on, hey, you want to rip my head off? Rip that off. Oh, oops. Oops. Oopsie. Who is shooting me? I was about to sign off, and I'm doing a live commentary. So I gotta actually reach over and to a keyboard and manually end the video. I mean, I could just lose the fight. Now I'm gonna take these dudes out. Oh wait a minute, there's more. But wait, there's more. I actually think the combat's pretty good in this game. I know some people don't. I think it's pretty good. When I come on. Here, for sake of argument, because I just heard another cop coming. So let me show you all this little trick. You can just bounce. Peace out. Ooh. That was not ideal. Alright, there you go. Check it out on Twitter, AI Gaming 1776. Share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hopefully this video has been informative and helped you out. Whoa. Apparently if you stand still, they will catch up with you. Alright, I'm gonna try I'm just gonna end the video. I'm trying to actually reach for the keyboard, and I'm just like button mashing while I do that. Alright, we're done. Peace out.